Mastery is pretty complicated, and I'm going to try my best to break it down so you guys can understand what it exactly is. So every character in Galaxy of Heroes has some form of mastery, and this is dependent... Hey, thank you so much, JC, for the sub. You made it into the video. So, as I was saying, mastery is there for every character in the game, but it is dependent on your, let's call it subcategory or subfaction. I don't really know what we would call it necessarily, but it depends on like healer, tank, support, attacker. So, for example, different characters have different masteries, but they're always sort of similar. So if we had to look at Canderous, we've got accuracy, damage, and defense penetration. If we had to look at Sabine, we've got crit chance, crit damage, and damage. If we had to look at, say, Cam, you're going to see that we have accuracy, damage, and defense penetration. So you can see that the attackers always have some form of damage. And then if we was to go to, say, the defensive characters, such as the tanks, you guys are going to see that they actually gain different mastery. Armor, health, steal, protection. And if we had a look at, say, the Chief Nibbit, we've got armor, health, steal, protection. We've got some deflection chance, dodge chance, health and protection on Poe. Like, you can see that every character has different mastery. Now, what does this actually mean? Because obviously there's lots of characters in this game, notably Malgus, notably Galactic Legends, Trench, all of these characters that boost your mastery. And I'm sure a lot of you are sitting at home and actually thinking, well, what does this actually mean for me? And also, you may be asking, why do Relic 9s get such a big boost from going to Relic 9? Why do Relic 8s get such a big boost from going to Relic 8? This is all going to be explained, guys. So let's take the example of Bossk. Bossk is a tank. His mastery is the following: armor, health steal, and protection. Now, guys, if you was to look at his stats, the mastery is already calculated here, okay? This is the first thing to understand. The mastery is not like it's added on. You're already seeing it, but let's break down what it actually means. So in the case of Bossk, he has plus 70 mastery. So this is the percentage of the increase on stats, right? If that makes sense. You can see that every character in this game will gain a lot of health. So Bossk here is gaining 35,868 health. And if we was to look at someone else who's also a tank, right, like L3, who's also R9 and unmodded, you're gonna see it's exactly the same health, exactly the same. There is no difference between Bossk's mastery on health and L3's mastery on health. There is no difference. The next thing, guys, is if we was to look at Bossk and L3 again, and we was to compare, or even Vandal. I mean, I can show you again, guys. If we was to look at Vandal's mastery, armor, health, steal, protection, and if we have a look at the stats, it's exactly the same on both of them, for health and for protection, because mastery is not dependent on the character. Mastery is just a stat on its own that increases linear. Guys, I can't say the word, but you know what I mean when there's like a line, right? And the point I'm trying to make, guys, is this is really good for understanding where stats are coming from and whether a character necessarily needs a relic. Now, obviously, some of you will say, well, why does my JML gain so much protection and my General Skywalker doesn't? So when you R9 a character, it does add protection to the character, okay? That happens to everyone. It's part of their R9. A bit similar to how R8 adds so much defense penetration. But here's the thing, guys. Protection is already on a lot of these characters because it's already on the mastery. So the increase is even higher, if that makes sense, guys. Now you will see that you have health steal here, 10.5. If we was to go back and look at someone who doesn't have health steal, is there anyone who doesn't have health steal? Finn, do you have health steal? He does have health steal. JTR, do you have health steal? She does not. So if you went to JTR, you guys are going to see there's no health steal here. So the way the stats are broken down is everyone's going to have the mastery and it's going to tell you how much you're gaining. So almost every character in the game is going to be gaining damage, right? If we had a look at JTR, 1510 to 1737. And if we went to another R7 who's an attacker, anywhere we have, you guys are going to see, for example, go to Sith Eternal. you're going to see that the damage is a lot higher. But again, it scales the same way. So this is also a really good way of breaking it down. So now we understand what mastery is and where to look for it. What does it mean? For example, Sif Eternal. He gives 25% mastery to Sif doubled. Okay? So if you wanted to calculate this, guys, when you go into the battle, you would look at the mastery in your team. We'll actually take, I don't know, Darth Revan as an example. So Darth Revan's mastery is accuracy, crit chance, and damage. Now, if we have a look at his damage, and note it's going to be a 1.5 increase because it's 50%, because C doubles for Sif. His damage, and we're looking at special damage here, is actually going to be increasing by 50% because he's gaining that much mastery. So at R7, he's going to be gaining 3804, and we times that by 1.5, and he's gaining 5,700 offense at the beginning of the battle. So that is how much mastery he's going to have. Now, I kind of worded that wrong, so I just want to recorrect myself. You then need to minus off the original number, which was 3804. And that actually shows you the offense increase, if that makes complete sense, guys. So your Darth Revan is going to have this much extra damage going into the battle. Now, talking about other mastery gaining characters such as Lord Vader or JMK, this is why they can stack so high. Because when mastery stacks, same with JTR, same with SLKR, but in the case of Lord Vader, whenever he uses his AoE, every character on the team is going to gain 1% mastery for each stack of underestimated. Now here's the thing, guys, that's 60% mastery stacking. So if we was to go and we was to have a look at someone on his team, for example, we'll look at him himself because he does gain his mastery. So if we have a look at his physical offense, right, which is 3676, and we times that by 1.6 for one AoE, and then you times it by 1.6 for the second AoE, and you times it by 1.6 for the next AoE. You guys can see this is why Lord Vader starts to ramp so much as the battle goes on, because his mastery is just scaling so high. So this is a good way to understand kits and understand mastery. I hope I kind of explained this in a good way, guys. Mastery is a little bit of a complicated subject. Let me know down in the comments, is there anything you think I've missed or anything you'd like me to clarify on, because I'm completely happy to do so. My advice, guys, is just take a look at the mastery, because it does sometimes affect the modding when you go into battles. Like, for example, in my stream today, which you guys can check out if you're interested, I was doing some modding. We was trying to work out Reaver's health and what it would actually be under Lord Vader lead, and we did have to account for that mastery increase. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please like and hit that subscribe button. My name is Glurmit, and as always, guys, have a glurmin day.